What's good, everyone? What's good, everyone? How y'all doing today? If you can hear me, type one in the chat. Good, good. Want to make sure I'm coming through loud and clear. Don't forget to hit that like button when you come in. And as the title says, today going to be excuse me, reviewing Justice League, the episode Fury of Justice League. Fury 1 and 2 is a two-parter. Um, and it's very interesting because this episode had a lot of what we talk about as far as feminism in this space. And so hey, we want to talk about that and get right to it. Um, so I'm gonna allow Lawrence to come up here, and we're gonna review it. Going to review what happened in these episodes, in these two episodes, and we're gonna have some fun with this. I'll tell you what I can always start it off. Um, so basically, starts off, episode one. The main villain of this two-part episode um, is a is a woman, and it starts off with her enlisting the help of Shade, Copperhead, Sakuri, Solomon Grundy, and Sapphire. And it's pretty interesting because they go in are wondering what they're there to steal. But before they kind of go any further, Solomon Grundy questions some things, and she uses her feminine wiles to kind of throw him off guard, subdue him, and make him happy. That she's giving him some attention. Um, but she's they go further into the facility, and they everyone takes their own, does what they're good at to kind of throw all the armed guards off, and they get into to the part where they need to be, where the object is they need to steal. And it's a type of plant, and she takes it, and when you kind of pans around, and you see that Batman is in the vent, and he's caught on to what's going on here, and he engages him. Uh, there's six of them. He takes down five with the six, but when he gets to this woman, he asks who she is, and she states, "I answer to no man, even you." Uh, and she handles him pretty well. She's strong, and she tosses him. And when she tosses him during this fight, Batman is able to kind of grab a hold of an amulet that she's wearing around her neck, and she tosses him, and he has the amulet, and he ends up passing out, and she leaves, and they leave, and they go back. So they go back to their hideout. After this cutscene, it goes through the opening music and everything, but also there's the next scene that comes up is where Diana is going into a store that sells feminine products, and there's a lady there that's trying to sell this black lady some lipstick, and trying to tell her everything that's good, to sell it to her. And she asks, she's telling her this shade of lipstick looks good on her, and ask Wonder Woman. She says, "It looks good on her, doesn't it?" And she looks, and she was like, "I don't understand why a woman would want to cover up her natural beauty. What's going on, Shing Shank? What's going on?" And go ahead and did that. Oh, for some reason it didn't post in here. Hold on. That's crazy. It didn't post in here. Uh, Lawrence, did the link post for you to be able to hit? What's good, Agon? What's good? What's good? Type of one in the chat if the link posted for you to come up, Lawrence. No. Okay, hold on. For some reason in the one it's there. Okay, hold on. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Because I want you in on it too. Okay, there we go. Yeah, for some reason the studio been tripping. Don't know why. Make sure everything's good. Okay, cool. Cool. Yeah, I posted it over on the other. Oh, Lawrence, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Oh my God, I can't hear you. Let's see. On here. Oh God. Let's see. For some reason. Hold on. Hold on. Let me see here.
Hey,
Audio.
Aegon, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey,
I hear you too, and I can hear Eisen too.
Yeah, I can hear Eisen, but he can't hear me. Can he hear you?
okay. Yeah, I got it. For some reason, I don't know. It was changed. For some reason, it changed earlier. It's
All
crazy.
right.
I hear
So,
y'all.
so you can hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. Don't feel bad, man. I've been having some weird tech stuff too. I mean, my computer went like blue screen of death twice today.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
yeah, it's not just you. It's not just you at all. I mean, I haven't done anything today because every time I try to do something, it's like I said, blue screen, reboot, all on its own. So
Got you.
I had to like strip it all down and start all over. So I'm just
Yeah.
warning everybody who's listening and everybody on the panel. If I'm gone, it's not my fault. So
Oh wow, wow.
now with that being said, what's up, Aegon?
What up? What
What's
up?
up, man? What's up, man?
What's up?
So yeah, okay, now we're good. Now we're better. All right, this is cool. All right, so but like I was getting at, I know Lawrence, you probably got to see it. Did you get to see any you remember this episode, any Aegon?
I remember the girl basically being from Thanaskara, and she was she was stealing artifacts out of spite or something like that, or she wanted
No.
power.
Oh no. What it ends up being, basically she steals them, and she's making this whole she's making a it's not a virus, but it was more of an infection type, an allergen. That's what they call it, an allergen.
Yeah, it was germ warfare. Yeah,
Yes, it was. Yes, it was an allergen, and I think but in the meantime, what happens is when she's stealing all this stuff, Batman confronts Diana and shows her, tells her that there's an Amazonian running around and stealing it. She shoves it off. It's like, no, there's no way, and there's no way we steal. And he throws her the amulet, and she looked and she was like, well, it could be a fake. But being Batman, so he goes and just enlists the help of Shira, Hawk Girl. because he can't. Men are not permitted on the island of Themyscira. So she does some investigation, gets caught. They take her to Queen Hippolyta, and she throws her the amulet because she's been accused of stealing, and then they go off to find to this place where you find out that the lady's name is Aresia. She had been in isolation for to meditate, to I guess ascend to to complete her I don't know, I guess it would be a part of their ritual that they do as part of Amazonians. Well, she'd been gone for weeks. They find, and so they dispatched there to go back to the world of men, as they so call it in Themyscira, to get her. But yeah, she's stealing these objects to make this allergen that affects the male half of the population. And she when Hawk Girl and Batman, they get there, and she was like, Hawk Girl said, she's taking out half the population, and some Batman said, yeah, the male half. So all kind of chaos ensues. The male counterparts that they had, they're out of it. But the female, when she had, they're pretty much, they're good because it's designed against men. But she was going to take out the men, and basically she was not actually from Themyscira. She was from, what you find out when Hawk Girl questions Hippolyta, that she was actually from some other country. Probably it looked like Eastern Europe, and it's war ravaged, and her mother was, I guess, the only one alive. Whoever the invading people were, these guys, they were killing everyone. They weren't leaving anybody alive, and so somehow they escape, and somehow she ends up on a ship, and the captain of the ship, somehow the ship wrecks, and the captain swims her to pretty much safety, which ends up being on Themyscira, and he dies there. You find out he's the only man that's buried on Themyscira, and she but she never told her any of this. So she she lied to her, and then raised her up in the Amazonian way of life, which is they don't need a man. They're strong. They're strong without them. You got anything to add here, Brother Lawrence, so far?
So far that's pretty much it. At least for the first episode, summed up pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, other than just breaking it down into its pieces, but yeah, that's pretty much the summary of it.
Yeah. Space Cowboy, peace, man, peace, shalom, peace, blaze. Thank y'all for coming out. Don't forget to hit that like button. This virus is going on. This not virus, but this allergen is spreading, and you find out, she's hijacked this military jet with missiles that are armed with this allergen to spread it all over the world to take out men. States that these men aren't needed, and along the way there, you hear Hawk Girl and Diana, engaging in dialogue, and Diana's, praising that these women are working together and they're getting things done, and she Hawk Girl points out to her that their way, it teaches hatred of men, and Diana was like, no, we don't teach hatred. She said, whenever what you teach, is that men aren't needed. So her only logical conclusion is to get rid of them. It comes to logic. The only thing to do is get rid of them, because even though they don't have a hatred, but this girl has a hatred of men because of what she's been through, and remembering all this, these soldiers coming in and tearing up the town and bombing it and killing everyone. But Hippolyta leaving out the fact that she was saved by a man. It's a crucial point that whenever they're fighting on this ship, on this plane, and she tells her, and she was like, well, so you lied to me. well, everything's not a lie. She's like, yeah, everything's a lie. Um, and it's pretty interesting because in parts before that, with the dialogue between Hawk Girl and Diana, Diana says some stuff about men and do you really value them so much? And Hawk Girl was like, hey, girl, don't knock it till you try it. And it's pretty funny, but it's very serious in a way too. Lawrence.
Yes.
Oh, for your interjection here.
Oh, well, I gotta go back to the beginning of part one.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
There's so much to unpack in both episodes. It's
Right, there
insane.
is. There is.
It's insane. Um, Going back to part one, the first part, what I found interesting was when we start off, and Arisha, who's the villain, the female from
Themyscira.
Themyscira. Thank you. Right out the gate, we see that in order to accomplish her goals, for somebody who talks about it's only about women, she's got 4 men on a 6-man team.
3.
So,
3.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. You're right. 3 men on her team of 6. So that right there showed you she was just straight up out the gate wrong from Jump Street. Because if it's all about hating men, you wouldn't work with them. The second thing is that she sits there and she lays claim that men aren't important. But in order to get Solomon Grundy to do what she wants, she used her feminine wiles on him.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I'm sitting here like, yeah, okay, chick, no problem. I got you. And then on top of that, when we get out of that scene, and the first part of the Justice League we see is Wonder Woman walking through a store, browsing, window shopping, whatever you want to call it, and literally with the cashier behind the counter and another female patron she's trying to sell us some perfume, talking about it's the greatest, it's the latest rage and makeup and all that good stuff. And it's funny because Diana, right then and there in that store, rebukes the concept of being feminine. And as soon as she does, the other female looks at her. That's easy for you to say when you're the perfect specimen of a female.
Yeah, pretty much that's what she said with those cheekbones. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? With those cheekbones, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, I caught that too. So we're looking at 2 aspects of how this is going to go for the episode,
right?
As far as females. Now that female customer who made that comment, if you notice, for the rest of the episode and the episode after, that female's commentary was replaced. That same voice and those same words were, instead of a customer and regular customer, it was put in the Hawk Girl's voice. Because every time Diana had something to say, the same way that female customer did her in the store, Hawk Girl did her through the rest of the episode.
It's right. It's right.
Challenge, every time she says something, challenged her to be the contrary.
Right.
So that was interesting too. And then when we move to the next scene, you got that dude who's sitting in the truck and won't let a female park.
No, he won't let her leave.
He won't let her leave.
Yeah, he can't move up and he won't move up.
Right. So he's like, hold on, because I'm on a break. But what does Wonder Woman does? She goes to pick up the truck, lift him in the air, let the other girl in the car pass, and then drop him and tell him to mind his manners. And I'm sitting here and I'm saying to myself, mind his manners. He was legitimately there. He got there first. She's just shit out of luck. You know what I'm saying? So what Wonder Woman is saying, that when it comes to men, what's important to you or whatever we got to do, regardless of what frame it's in, forget you.
Yeah,
we don't put the woman first. That's how I took that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Then when we get to Hawk Girl going to Themyscira, it fascinates me because between Diana, her mother Hippolyta, and the rest of the Amazons, there's a certain level of arrogance there that bugs me out, because they always talk about how they're greater than men and their concept is always about peace. But as soon as they saw another woman, which was Hawk Girl, they went straight to the attack.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
I mean, they went straight to the attack. I mean, and when we say straight to the attack, I'm talking about, what is it, like 4 of them on her?
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 of them trying to tag her. So that threw me off too. You know what I'm saying? So it was weird. And like I said, going back to the main villainess, Orisha, I find it fascinating that the first time she uses her gas in her allergen, she
Yes.
she uses it on Superman. And the
Yes.
first thing that crossed my mind, okay, so we're gonna go straight out the gate for the most powerful. If that doesn't look like a representation of chicks making false allegations and Me Too, I don't know what is.
Oh, wow.
You see what I'm saying? You
Dang.
know, and then they spend the episode talking, and then when you get back to Arisha when she was a little girl, you see her and her mother running from the house or cabin or whatever it was where the invading army was killing everybody, and they spend so much time showing you the sorrow of her and her mother.
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, on that same train they were escaping on, there was men. Nobody talked about the pain those men were going through.
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying? And then going back to something you said about Hippolyta actually finally telling her the truth. Here's the thing. If you didn't know the truth until Hippolyta told you, how did you wake up in the morning and just make an assumption all men are to blame? You didn't even know your own story.
Right.
I could see if you grew up and you said to yourself, "Yo, men did this to my village, and I'm upset," and yada yada yada. But until the final episode, she didn't even know the truth. But yeah, she woke
Right.
up for no reason whatsoever, and I'm just gonna kill all men. Come on, what's up with that?
I think the other thing is it wasn't like that in that sense. The thing is to note that when she says to Hippolyta that everything you taught me was a lie. So Hippolyta raised her and corrupted her into that.
Right. Because the foundation of Amazon Prophet's philosophy is that
Yes.
man's world is bad.
Yeah, their culture and code.
Yeah,
But
and
I think it's another thing to point out is that it's also in a part of the lore that there is a time, one time, I guess, I don't know, I don't know if it's a year or how, it's one time ever so often that men are allowed to the island. And that is for purposes of procreation.
that's true, but that's a
Yeah,
different type of Amazon or a
I
different
will
story
say,
or a different
I
storyline.
will say that. And,
Uh,
but, okay, go ahead, my bad.
no. I was just saying that's true, but that doesn't follow the pattern of Wonder
Not
Woman
of this
storyline.
one.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah, that's like that's a different version
right,
of it that they don't do
right,
anymore. Um,
right.
but what fascinates me is, like I said, for all their power, for all their claim of peacefulness, and looking at this young girl who grew up. Because remember, Hippolyta said they mystically gave her their abilities.
Yes.
And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, so here we go. Another female who's been given all the gifts with no responsibility or consequences in obtaining it. And
Mm-hmm.
what did she do with it? You know what I'm saying? I mean, she could.
Misuses it. Yeah.
I mean, she could have been anything. She could have
Yeah.
done anything.
Yeah. And I think the other thing here to also point out with this, it's interesting with this dialogue with Hawk Girl and Wonder Woman is the simple fact that in this story right here, this is at a time, you got later where they have Steve Trevor in her early on, but
Mhm.
this one is not. Steve Trevor is not in this timeline. Um,
No,
they
no, he's
actually
not.
have it to where later her interest is actually Batman.
Yes, that's
So
correct.
this is before that whole that whole romantic entanglement starts. So it's very important to point that out, which is why Hawk Girl tells her, "Don't knock it till you try it, girl."
Well, and that was the point because when Dwayne McDuffie wrote the teleplay for these two episodes, that was the whole point. Because if you notice, after these two episodes, Wonder Woman started to become more feminine,
Yes.
as opposed to being primarily warrior.
Yes.
You started to see her in dresses. You started seeing her, like you said, getting involved with Batman. If you notice, she became more open and relaxed around the rest of the team, where she could joke
Yes.
with them and etc. So
Especially
these
Batman.
yeah, exactly. So these two episodes really set the foundation for the Wonder Woman we remember at the end.
Yes, the character change. Yes,
Mhm.
exactly. It does.
Which is good.
Um,
Which is good writing because
it
you want
was.
your character to grow. That was very well done.
Yes, it was very, very good writing. Very good writing. Um, but yes, that was important to take, make that statement, where you that point you brought up about her, the first male she takes out being Superman. That was great. Aegon, you got anything you want to add or remember?
Um, do you guys? I think Lawrence kind of remember this. I mean, Lawrence already brought this up, but I'm gonna go over it again. The beginning part when uh Arisia, that's her name.
Yes,
Arisha,
Arisha.
Arisha, yeah.
Arisia, yeah. Shout out to the names like Thanaskara. This is really
Yeah.
rememberable names they did
Mm,
with this series. The part when they had like the three men that were in the group of the Injustice League
Yeah.
that she was using. She was
Yes.
for a woman that was corrupted by feminism. Lawrence, did you mention like how basically like, she was like charming those dudes? Like she was like openly affectionate towards them.
Solomon, yeah, it was
Mostly it was Solomon Grundy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Solomon, because the Shade and Copperhead was in it for the greed, but
Exactly.
she was definitely working it on Solomon Grundy a couple of times.
Yes,
yeah.
because after that whole point where they stole, where she takes his jewel at this jeweler, where she takes out Superman, when they go back to the hideout, and Solomon Grundy's not, he's worried he doesn't want to do it again
Hmm.
because he doesn't want to run into the Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
And no, it's actually before they go to that one. I think now when I think about it, or is it after? I can't remember.
Because
But
they hit a lick and then they about to hit another lick and she stood
yeah,
because she charmed Solomon Grundy and Copperhead in the first lick and then
yeah,
the second lick she charmed Solomon Grundy like especially.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. She does
Because
because he's like,
yeah, because he said he didn't want to fight the Justice League again.
yes,
And then the next scene you showed was her eyes softening, and then she came over and started rubbing the side of his face and all
and
that. And I'm
rubbing
like,
his head and all that.
yeah.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, okay, I got you, chick.
yeah. Grundy starts smiling,
Right, right.
and that's what she tells him. Don't you worry about that. I'll take care of it.
Yeah,
And
Hmm.
Grundy's okay.
yeah, yeah.
And yes, it was very interesting. I think the other thing too was to point out that, and to be honest, the Injustice League always had more male members than female.
Right.
Um, but the point was too that regardless of what it was, she could not get the initial part of her plan done without those three individuals.
Hmm.
With Shay's abilities, with Copperhead's, his ability, and then of course Solomon Grundy and him not being able to die in his strength.
Hmm.
They were very vital up until the point when she got what she needed, and then of course she threw that allergen in the midst of them, and the women were the only ones left standing, Sakura and Sapphire.
Mm-hmm.
Which brings us to another point, because just like we were saying, if she was really serious about what she was going to do, then why bring men onto the team? It should have been all females. But what
Mm-hmm.
made it even more interesting is, and I hate to go here, but I gotta keep it real. I gotta keep it real. All women are the same. As soon as they get what they want from you, they turn you on you. And
Right.
sure as shit, those same men who helped her achieve her goals after Superman was the very next group she took.
Right.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
are you serious? Are you serious? These dudes helped you get here. For real, for real?
Right. And that was the thing. They had to help her get there to that point. She needed them to help her fulfill her mission. But then after that,
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah, it's like they do it naturally or they do it out of spite.
oh,
Regardless, they're gonna do it. Like I've had women that basically done that type of stuff towards friends that I know
Hmm.
just because they didn't give a fuck. And I've also had women that basically in my life that have loved me and still done it. And I used to like question myself, like maybe she doesn't know what she's doing. It's like no, that's just how they are.
yes.
Because like they'll even come back and say sorry for the shit, but they will do it again.
Hmm.
It's just
Because
who
they're
they
not
are.
sorry. They're
Hmm.
not sorry. They have to manipulate you. That way you can stick around to manipulate you again when they need
Yeah,
Yep.
that's why women will like snap on. That's why women will basically hold you to like standards that they don't hold up themselves.
you.
Like
Right.
you're not supposed
Yep.
to do that. You're the guy. So this is me. Like let me run you over and come back and do it again.
Hmm.
Right. Right.
And the
Simple
and
Exactly.
as
the
that.
and the interesting part about it is that by the time you finish both episodes, here's the interesting part. You can tell this is almost 20 years ago when this was made, because it's 2020. I think this was like 2000, 2001. So
Yes.
so right there, you're looking at almost 20 years difference. You notice how in the way the writing was, regardless of whatever we say about her, she did suffer the consequences at the end. If that was written today, there would have been no consequences.
Right. And
Yeah.
the message would have totally been lost.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. 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 You're
Exactly.
right.
It would have been totally different. There would have been no consequences. Because remember, in this one, she died straight out the gate at the end of it. and
I
with the
can't
plane,
remember if she died, but
she did.
it
Yeah,
gave the appearance of her dying.
Yeah,
I'll put it that way
the
because I
plane
think she
exploded with
comes
the
back
missiles.
later on.
yeah, because she was in the plane with all the allergen, and it blew up, and then it
Right.
crashed into the ocean, and they never showed her come up from the water,
Exactly. They
and
did
then
not.
then they showed Hippolyta being sad, but still, nonetheless, bottom line is, if that was written today, that would be a totally different thing. There would be no consequences, none.
Exactly.
Mhm.
That's true. That's true. There
Yo,
wouldn't be any
yeah,
consequences.
Eisen, can I go again real
Yo,
fast?
go. Yeah, go.
Oh no, just
Um,
talk, man, just talk, man.
oh,
Tell me to shut up if you have
Yeah.
to.
no. I just want to make sure y'all was done because I don't want to interrupt y'all. I like letting people flow because I might get y'all might say what I'm already about to say.
I got you.
Um, Another thing, Solomon Grundy reminded me of the horse on Animal Farm, of how she was using him. Basically, like he was the strength, and they need to gas him up to use
Yes.
him for his power.
Yes.
hmm hmm
And he was the most uneasy kind, like the dumb, because the horse was dumb too, and they also represented the people. How
Yeah.
basically they're strong all together, but they don't know what direction to go in. So somebody charms them to do what they want, and then as soon as they done with them, they shipping them off to the glue factory, and that's what she did when
hmm
she threw the stuff down. Like she needed the other guys for the little stuff, but the big power, which was Grundy, she like really put that charm on for him, which was fake.
Yes.
Which was fake all the whole time. And like if you watch this episode from the beginning, that's the problem that I had growing up with women, where basically they would give me initial like Eisen, they give you an initial reflection of themselves that they want you to see. And
Yes.
after they do you dirty, you be like, no, that's not the real them. The real them is what they showed me the first time.
hmm
So,
No.
so the whole time after they do you dirty, you like, yo, I know if the good person is still there, but that really
Nope.
wasn't them. That's what they wanted to show you.
Exactly. They
hmm
want you to think that, but that's why it's always important for us as men to always realize the simple fact is that women's basic nature, it is fun. At its core is manipulation. Women have to manipulate men into giving them power, which is ultimately what they want, but to also get other things that they want.
Well, it's two parts. It's that, and the other aspect of it is denial. Because at the end of the day, when Batman showed her the jewelry, Wonder Woman, and told her what
Yes.
it was, she denied it. And what do they do in denial? That's sticking with the sisterhood. I'm
Yes.
always gonna back my sister. None of them ever did anything
Yes.
wrong. That's straight up out the gate what it was. And if you look at it, you have Wonder Woman, Hawkgirl, and Hippolyta on one side. You have Arisha, Sakuri,
Sakura. Sakura.
Sakuri, and you had
Sapphire.
Star Sapphire. And here's the thing: when you look at the dichotomy of women, you have those who want to claim that they're for men, and you have the others who are against men. And if you don't pay attention, you'll let one inside your group who will destroy it from the inside. That would be Arisha being the negative aspect coming into the so-called positive aspect of the Amazons, and then you get sisters going against each other, but they will never do it where the men are concerned because it will always be back my sister.
Hey, you know what? Here's the thing. What I got out of it, the dichotomy or the rift
Mm-hmm.
was this: you have one side that's like, we don't fucking need them foolishly.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have the other side that's like, I can't stand them at times, but doggone it, we got to have
Mm-hmm. Yep. 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 Yeah,
them.
yeah, it's true. And also in addition to that, by the time we get to the end of the first episode and definitely going into the first 10 minutes of the second episode, we have two major problems here. First of all, you have you diminish the men in order for Risha to seem as if she's better than what she is.
Right.
Because we've seen them take out other people, like they took out Darkseid, for crying out loud. Seriously.
Yeah.
So in order for her to get her little spotlight in the sun for the episode, you had to diminish the men.
Yeah.
Then in addition to that, you immediately go to showing all these women who supposedly can take the place of men, firefighters, police, yada yada yada, knowing full well what we're looking at cannot actually be done in reality because they don't have the mass required, the physical mass to be able to do a lot of the stuff they showed.
Right.
And to bring that point home, you got two female medics who are flying a helicopter and like idiots fly straight into smoke, smack into a power line, and then gotta be rescued.
Yeah.
Any man who's flying a chopper would not fly blindly in the smoke where he can't see. Come on, stop playing.
Usually, well, I will not say that just because of the simple fact we did lose Kobe Bryant and them other people in their helicopter.
No. What I'm saying is they wouldn't do it intentionally. If you look at the episode, they intentionally went into it.
Gotcha.
I mean, because when they were flying, a whiff of the smoke came forward. All they had to do was turn around, but they kept going straight into it.
Like it was an artificial problem.
Yeah. I mean, it was just weird to see. I mean, it was just dumb. Because like I said, when they're first flying, a whole whiff of smoke flew around them. All they had to do was turn around and go the opposite way, or drop lower to go under it. Take your pick, or go above it, or go higher to go over it.
Right.
But after they got that first whiff, they kept straight on, went straight into it, snapped into a power line. The thing crashed, went on fire. The whole nother stuff. Like, come on, man, come on.
I agree. It was, yeah, there were problems, and but it was. But needless to say, it was great writing.
Yeah, shout out to Dwayne McDuffie.
That's my man. Yeah, Dwayne McDuffie was my man. I followed all his stuff for years.
Yo, he was an engineer too, man.
Yeah. No, actually, he was a physicist.
Yeah. He was a physicist.
He was a physicist. And like I was telling Eisen earlier, after he passed away, come to find out his brother is what was his name again? Eisen Keegan.
Oh yeah, Key and Peele.
Yeah. The tall, slim, light skinned one.
Is it Michael Key, the first name?
I can't remember his name, but like I said, the tall, slim, light skinned one.
I think it was Michael Key and Jordan Peele. I think it's how.
Yeah. He found out after Dwayne died, and he did he did the ancestry thing, and then started following back, and come to find out they were half brothers, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Never got a chance to talk to him either. At least not that I know of anyway.
And he passed away during a surgery, right?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know who else that happened to? It was another writer named I forgot his name, but he wrote this show called Ruby, where basically it was like these it's a female centric animation, but it's based on guns combined with other weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And he used to research a lot of weapons, and he was a really good writer in the sense of basically how to use those weapons in fighting. Like, he was a great fight animator. Like, if he would have stayed alive, it would have been, he'd have made some good fight scene movies. But he has a show called Ruby, and he also had a surgery, and he had a heart attack during his surgery, and then passed away. Yeah, that's another one. So I was like, dang, yo, I was like, what's up with you? Like, that really made me question, like what are these guys doing during them surgeries that's giving these guys these heart attacks?
Gotcha. Yeah.
Heck.
But yeah, I'm sorry, what?
Oh no, go ahead. Nothing I had to say was that important. Go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just going back to the episodes.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah. My other thing is a couple of other things I saw, and this might be me reaching, but it's just the way my brain interpreted. There was a scene where all the women were taking care of everything because the men were down. Mm-hmm. Batman's the last man standing, and he's with Hawk Girl, and he's
second last.
Huh?
Second to last.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's correct. Yeah, second
Martian
to last.
Manhunter ended up being the last.
That's right. He sure was.
It was.
Well, how about this? The last human one. How about that?
Okay.
Yo, does Batman already have the inclination? Does Batman already have the inclination that it's an airborne virus?
Yeah, he did. He's the one who told Hawk Girl.
So why wasn't he wearing one of his masks?
Because when he realized that they were watching other men passing out,
It was too late.
yeah,
Okay.
he was already in the space, so he would have been affected anyway.
Okay.
But anyway, he looking at the way everything was going, he saved the little boy when he
As
swung
well as
down.
the bus driver
Yeah, exactly.
and
His bus
several
driver.
others.
And the reason the boy stuck out to me was because
Ooh.
I was also looking at it simultaneously when Hippolyta finally told Arisha the truth of what happened, and Arisha says, "You lied to me." Number one, saving the boy shows that even in the midst of their madness, they don't even care about children.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
second thing was with Queen Hippolyta lying to Arisha. It shows exactly what we've talked about many places, many times, where the women, the elder generation, will continuously lie to their daughters and children to continually perpetuate something until we've gone so far. There's nothing you can do.
Right.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
take almost a breaking of the world for them to basically confront the
Ain't no almost. It
yeah.
takes
Oh
Yeah.
that.
yeah. It's basically the world has to be broken for them to
Hmm.
basically confront the child and be like, okay, I was on some bullshit.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
and what spoke to me about Arisha was that she kind of has the Magneto story, but instead of going with it's humanity, it's also all on men because she was fostered to be like a extreme feminist.
Right.
Exactly.
And
Yeah, and
yeah,
that's what makes it so weird. Because look, even if I walk around saying I don't interact with women, I don't talk to them, I don't associate with them, nothing in what I said gives any indication for men to go out there and kill them.
Right.
Nothing. So the question becomes is what is this chick being taught that she thinks that that's the only option to go out there? And then you take in consideration when she learns the truth, there's still no there's still no admonishment of her behavior with the reality that you can hate men all you want to, but if it wasn't for one, you wouldn't be here.
Exactly.
I
You know
That
think
what I'm saying?
you know
And
that's
then
a good.
and then on top of that, in order to achieve what she wants to do, she threatens the very people she claims that she's here to help, other women.
I
yeah.
think I think the problem was that it probably wasn't fleshed out as much. The fact that she was not a prospect, but basically she was a was it like a person that's of high potential.
Oh, that but doesn't live up to it. Prodigy.
No. She does live up to it. It's just the fact that I think it would have been fleshed out more in like a movie or
Mhm.
like if McDuffie had more time. The fact that basically like she was so like she was she set out she was set out from other Amazonians that even the Queen of Themyscira saw that shit. So basically, she didn't want to mess up her potential of being the embodiment of her ideals. So she never corrected her on how to how to treat the rest of the world. Where basically
I
she was
disagree.
okay.
I
I, I,
disagree. And I'm gonna
I,
tell you why I disagree.
I
When you look at her name is Hippolyta, right?
Mm-hmm.
What word closely resembles that?
Apollo.
No. Hypocrisy.
Oh, Hippolyta. Okay.
Exactly. It's Hippolyta.
Okay.
See, I don't know. I think I lean a little bit more towards what Aegon was saying.
Really. I see I look at no, see, I see it as a hypocrisy because of the simple fact she hides actual truths to make women seem better.
Agreed.
When you look, because I guess we'll have to go into it later.
Like
But you remember
mhm.
there was an episode with was it Faust where Ares gets freed?
Yeah, I remember that.
Now, she leads it on to believe like, she's some saint who has not made her mistakes. But you later find out that she was sleeping around with Ares and Ares used her. And she's made her mistakes because of her foolishness and not being able to see the truth.
Well, okay. Now, see, for me, and I get what you're saying, and
Yeah,
you're
I
not
agree.
wrong.
I agree with that too.
You're not wrong, but I lean more towards Aegon's point of view because I look at it like this: you have a child who, in a sense, you want to live up to her greatest potential, whatever you may think it is. Not what the child wants, but what you decided, which sounds like every single mother on this planet. And in order to do that, you lie to the child, you fill the child up with false doctrine, and then when it goes batshit crazy, now all of a sudden you want to start pulling back. That's why I lean a little bit more towards Aegon's perspective.
Okay.
And she
So I guess
wasn't
we're both right.
right. And like, yeah, I agree with that too. And the thing is, like, she wasn't originally from Themyscira. So,
Exactly.
and she came later. So basically, even in showing, she kind of was like a prophet child, like Moses, somewhat. Like could have
Mm-hmm.
could have been the greatest in both ways. Like could have been greatest against or for. So, because she's not from there, but as in her training, it shows that she was damn near Diana before Diana, and she don't need the bands and stuff. So it's like I think the Queen of Themyscira saw that and was like, I don't want to ruin this child because she is going to be the embodiment of our ideals. But you guys ever seen Kung Fu Panda?
Yeah, I have.
Man, a long time ago, but
But
Yeah, I
do
yes.
know.
you
Yeah.
like the teacher of the villain was the teacher of Kung Fu Panda, where basically the guy was the I think it was a cat or something like that. He was so talented that he didn't see his flaws. So all he did was train him and train him and train him and train him, but he didn't train him on how to deal with people and be a better person, or basically how to
Yeah.
handle power. So when they came against the great sage and he was like, "Are you going to teach me this ancient technique?" He was like, "No." And he was like, "Why not?" He was like, I can see the rage in your eyes. If I give you this power, you're gonna abuse it. I don't care how much you train." And it broke him, and that's when he became evil. Like that's how I feel with like her. She was just that strong, and Hippolyta, and I think it would have been more fleshed out in like a movie if Dwayne if he had control like that. That basically would have showed that like, yo, she was just that good that I didn't want to thwart her from being the one, because she
Mm-hmm.
basically was the, when you think about it, she was the queen, but younger. She was blonde hair. She was tall.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she basically was doing what the queen would have done if she could leave the island. You know?
Yeah.
Here's what
Yeah.
I take from it.
And
Okay,
here's
go
something.
ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Isaac.
Go
Just
ahead.
let me say this real quick. I'm sorry. And here's the interesting part about that. When based on what Aegon just said, when you put all that into a child and you do it with false doctrine, what eventually happens, and we saw it in the episode, where the child itself turns on the very parent who made it the way it is.
Yes.
Because don't forget, she had that Sakura chick knock her own mother out, her own
Mm-hmm.
mother, her own queen, to continue on the path that right out the gate the queen tried to warn her wasn't the way to go.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that.
And the other thing too to take from it is this right here. Whenever you look at her Hippolyta, this is why I said the whole hypocrisy reference.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you hear women talk about men aren't shit, men this, men that, the whole misogyny aspect. Here's the other thing. Her line or missions of truth, her Hippolyta's lying to herself and not admitting to her own failures, her own inability to choose the right people to be around, which women are notorious for this.
Yep. Yep.
It poisoned that girl, and it thusly poisons her own self as well as all of her followers.
Yep. And here's the foolishness about not learning that lesson. Because you lost Diana and now you lost Arisha.
Yes, yes, yes,
I mean,
yes.
I mean, I mean, just that simple. I mean, if that's proof of not dealing with consequences, like accepting responsibility and learning from what you've been through, even the prime example, take Arisha for instance. Okay, so she created this gas that kills all the men, right? All
Right,
right.
right.
Here's the math. I mean, let's follow this through to its natural conclusion. Every viral agent eventually mutates.
Mm-hmm.
What it would have done is it would have eventually went from men of the human genome to animals, plants, yada yada yada.
Right.
So when all the male animals are killed off,
Yes.
who's making more animals for food? Because
Right.
once you kill off the female cows, sheep, whatever have you made, that's it. You're done. It's a wrap.
Right. Right.
I mean, that shows you just literally the foolishness of not thinking the plan all the way through.
And not only this, too, when you look at it from that aspect, how are you gonna stop it from deciding to mutate further and devour the female of the species?
It will eventually.
Right, exactly.
Mhm.
Yep.
It will eventually because I'm gonna tell you right now, it was strong enough to affect two people who weren't human. That's
Yes,
Superman and that's Martian Manhunter. Now
exactly.
Martian Manhunter, Martians have complete control of their body down to the subatomic levels. That's how come they can shapeshift.
Yeah.
So you're telling me you created something that would attack them on that kind of level? Oh no, everybody would have been done. Trust me.
And not only that, attack an individual whose source of power comes from the radiation from the yellow sun, who pretty much on this planet, other than other means like magic and gravity guns, different things like that,
Hmm.
who is virtually he's what you would call amortal. He can't die by aging.
Hmm.
Um, and he's virtually indestructible.
That is correct.
Yeah, I mean, for that's
Because they've already done a story that after a certain point in time, I can't remember what comic. I think it was DC 1 million. But Superman left the Earth and flew straight into the sun. He lived in the sun, and by the
yes,
time he came out, it was the 853rd century, and he was alive and young.
yeah, and
Dude is not to be trifled with. I'm just saying.
yeah, and he went into the sun. They did a movie too. I can't remember what it was, but he flew into the sun because something happened. Lex
Batman
Luthor, I
v
think, had done something.
Batman v Superman. Yeah, yeah. Batman v Superman. I think he detonated a nuclear bomb.
Lex Luthor did something.
Yeah, yeah, detonated. No, he released Doomsday. The Air Force came in and tried to take it out with a nuclear bomb. Superman got hit in the impact, and he was left floating in space. And as his body slowly turned to face the sun, the rays went to his body. He started to absorb it, and he came back
Yeah.
in the 9 yards. Yeah, yeah, I remember that.
Oh, and I think so too for that animated movie. Also, he went because he had to repair the sun or something something
All Star.
happened.
That was All Star
All
Superman.
Star
Yeah.
Superman. That's what it
Mhm.
was. He also it was. Oh, I remember what it was. He went there because his body had absorbed too much of the sun's radiation,
Hmm.
and it was feared that I think that he was going to release it in a violent way. So that's why he went to the sun.
Something like that, or radiation poisoning. He was
Yeah,
giving out
something like
something like
that.
that. But he built a workshop in the sun,
Yeah.
and then went in there, and that's how it ended. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But like I said, as far as Dwayne McDuffie, like I said, you couldn't write that kind of story today. You couldn't. And
Oh no.
here's where it's weird to me. I don't. I know Dwayne McDuffie wrote that story for us as fans because of Justice League, but I really think he wrote that more for women than he did for us because that was a cautionary tale.
But or maybe it was for us too, for us to be cautionary of them.
This is true. Yeah, this is true. That's fair. That's
Right.
fair. But that was definitely a cautionary tale for a variety of reasons.
It was. It was.
Whether it be letting your anger get control of you, taking everything out on one group, or sectionalizing them, or gender bias, whatever have you made. But that was a solid story. That was a solid story.
Yeah. I think. Yeah. I think the moral of it was allowing those negative experiences to actually fest in you to create a cancer of its own, to where
Hmm.
you end up becoming a cancer to the world.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because that's what happened with Hippolyta and as well as Arisha, because Hippolyta was infected by her own poor decisions and
Hmm.
refused to actually own up to it, which we know women don't do that.
Hmm.
And she thusly infected all of her other Amazonians. But the one who was not born there, who come from another place, she infected her worse and,
Hmm.
and released a plague on earth.
Yep. And as a bonus, as a bonus, you go back to Diana, And there was a moral tale for her there too,
Yes.
because there, but for the grace of God, she could have went either way, either Risha or her mother.
Right. True.
You know what I'm saying? Because as the next in line for the throne, she's learning from her mother what shouldn't be done, and
Right.
from Orisha, she's watching it and seeing what she could have become.
Yes, and I think then her staying, and you see in later episodes with her being around Batman, because she begins to actually trust in his abilities and like to be around him because of the simple fact of how logical he is, but he values he values all life, um and wants to try to help everyone. She sees his noble side, and what I believe through him she sees what men as well as people could be.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yep. But her being attracted to him does surprise me. That's just how we roll in Gotham.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Hmm.
Just saying. Poison Ivy, Talia Ghul, Catwoman. You know what I'm saying? That's how we roll in Gotham. The bat owns all. That's all
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Well, poison ivy is a different thing. I'll never take that seriously because she's nuts.
Yes, yes, yeah. Yeah,
She's nuts.
yeah.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I guess heck, he seems to attract the those the female of the species that seem to have
Screws loose.
well, I was gonna say, their car is short of a full deck.
Fair enough. Fair enough. There's a couple of fries short of a Happy Meal, right?
Yeah. But luckily, he was able to add some cars to Diana. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's funny too because they did it in the comics as well. Had them date.
yeah.
Uh,
And I think this it's pretty interesting because of the simple fact of what he embodies and his ability, his thinking, his forward thinking, and I mean, he undoubtedly is a leader of the Justice League, but he's also a leader in the sense he's the one that has them prepared for threats. Even though Martian Manhunter later takes on that to an extent, but uh, Batman's ability, uncanny ability to be a battle tactician is like none other.
yeah, we call that plot armor.
Yeah, it is. He's got wonderful plot armor,
Yeah, you got
and
massive plot armor.
he
Massive plot
does. He does. But
armor. But I'm sorry, Aegon. Did you want to say anything, man? I've been running my mouth.
You good? You good? I'm gaining the knowledge right now. Something I wanted to say to you. I think I'm good right now.
Okay. I thought you go. I was gonna say, go ahead and say what you wanted to say.
Let's try to make this realistic. Like,
Okay.
okay, Hippolyta is the queen of the Amazonians, right?
Right.
Okay.
Um, did she create the Amazonians?
No.
Because it says here that basically she was their leader, and she served around Mount Olympus, and she allowed the Titans to move on Mount Olympus, and then the Amazonians were punished, and then Hippolyta had to guard Tartarus after that, and then basically they moved to that island, and basically where they just lived in relative peace after that. So they weren't severely punished, but they basically were outside of the regular world, right?
Mm-mm.
Exactly.
So, you got her. She's probably not. She's not the oldest Amazonian. And
Yes, she is.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. I'm gonna let y'all talk. What you say?
No,
Yes, she is.
I was gonna ask you what are you reading from because there have been so many interpretations. So I want to make
Right,
sure
right, right.
I just want to make sure
I'm
I'm on the
reading from
same
general
page with you.
history. I'm reading from I'm reading the general history, like a DCUA wiki. But I'm trying to bring it
Oh,
in.
okay.
I'm trying to bring it into this.
Mhm.
When she found Arisia, right?
Right.
It wasn't just Hippolyta as the Amazon, right? It was more Amazons than her, right? At that time.
Well, in this particular one, she was there whenever the that captain of that ship swam her to the shore.
Right.
It was just her
Right.
for
I know.
this episode.
Yeah. It was just her. But let's put some human on this.
Okay.
Okay.
When does a new Amazon come out of nowhere, or a new person, and a woman would just be like, she's just one of us. When they like
They haven't. They haven't. Not in the well, at least in the comics, it doesn't work that way.
so basically there's an older regiment of women that knew that she was different, and they would have came to her because she would have had like generals underneath her. She just wouldn't have been a queen just all by herself with all this information. It's a hierarchy. So they would have been like, yo, who is this young chick that you're training with us? We don't know her. And then
well, again, it depends. Well, it depends on which version you go to, because in one version, the Amazons are actually all the women who were killed in different lives by a man unexpectedly. And Hippolyta at the time when she was killed she was listed as being the first woman recorded in history to die by the hands of her husband, and she was pregnant at the time. So she was, her spirit and the baby spirit was taken, and then all the other women who died over time throughout history, their spirits was taken, and then the Greeks took those spirits, and Hera and Aphrodite and the rest of the female. Yeah, and well, in this particular instance, it was none of the men except for Hermes. He was the only one.
Okay.
But it was all the female goddesses and Hermes. And Hermes came in later, but they took all those spirits, set up Themyscira, put all the women there, gave them new bodies, rebirthed them, and had them worship them as goddesses and etc. and so on. Over time, Hippolyta kept walking around being sad, because she had a longing she couldn't understand, only to find out that that longing was the baby that she was pregnant with. So the goddesses told her to go to the beach. She formed, using the sand, she made the shape of a baby, and then they took that baby spirit that she had and put it inside the baby. That was Diana.
That's what. Okay, wait.
And then
later they had it where Zeus.
Yes, that's correct. That's true.
It was later. Okay, so it wasn't always like that.
No, dude, there's at least 5 different versions.
Okay.
Real for it. As a matter of fact, in the latest one, she's the daughter of Zeus. Hippolyta and Zeus had an affair, and she's his daughter, and she took over. She defeated Ares, and now she's quote unquote the god of war. Like I said, there's so many versions, dude. It's insane.
Right. I guess what I'm trying to say is like, with her coming there would have been a rank of older women that would say, "Who is this chick?"
She was always the first one to be given life, so she was always the oldest.
No. I'm saying, but even if she was the oldest, there would have been women underneath her that have been like, it would have popped up questions.
It doesn't matter. She was the authority.
No. I know it's the authority, but then it still would have been a quizzical in this, because we're humans and they're actual women, so they know what like. So who? You basically brought this. It's like having a platoon of soldiers and bringing a new one over, and it's like, yo, where'd this guy come from?
But they didn't allow it. That's what I'm saying. Once they chose the female spirits that they wanted and created them, they created no more. The last Amazon that was ever created after them was Diana. Period.
Right. So basically, she was everybody there before her would have been like, this girl's somewhat of an outsider, even though she's with us now.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm trying to say is, somebody would have had the smarts to be like, yo, how did she get here, and did some investigation on it.
You want me to tell you your problem?
What?
You're equating male thought to female thought. No,
what I'm saying, but women aren't. What I'm trying to say is that women aren't. This isn't like on let's say this. Women are sneaky, and they're sneaky and smart. What I'm saying is that she made a grave for this man on that island. So somebody would have went around and saw that grave.
Right.
I see what you're saying. Okay, I got you now. I see what you're saying.
They knew, but they knew. They just didn't tell.
Right. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. And I wanted to basically bring it over to the realistic aspect of life, of basically how, if you don't have a good relationship with your father, majority of the time, your mother will never tell you that one piece of information that will basically set you straight or have you on like the right course, because it'll make her look bad. Because after she did all that training and stuff to Orisha, that's her name, he did all that training with her, she couldn't go back and say, and basically she basically was a product of that ideology. She couldn't go tell her a man saved you.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. I see where you're going. I got you now.
She had to start
and,
either.
and
You
it
have
wasn't
to
just
start off with the truth because the truth is one card. Once you play it, it's in play forever.
right.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying it wasn't just Hippolyta who held the information back. It was a group of Amazons who knew that shit, and they all kept it from her for a reason.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing you have to think too. Uh, she was the only one who had previous contact with the outside world other than Hippolyta at this point in time. I think with this storyline.
No, actually, the only person who's ever had contact with the outside world was Diana. At least within this storyline.
I thought within
Um,
the storyline, Hippolyta had too.
Not that I recall. I could be wrong, but
I thought she had. I have to look again, but I thought
yeah.
she had.
She might have been. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But from my memory, none of them had ever been outside the island outside of Diana. Because if I remember correctly, in the beginning of that first episode, when Bruce was telling Diana that it was an Amazon, Diana had said no. Amazons have never left the island, yada yada yada, ever.
Hippolyta lied to her.
And then Bruce looked at her and he said, "Ever?" And then, in other words,
Yes.
you left. So
Right.
seriously, it could
Right.
be somebody
But
else.
also, I think he's probably figured that Hippolyta has too.
Yeah.
Because there's something that comes on later on that lets it be known. I think I'm telling you, Hippolyta has been outside that Themyscira, and I
I can
think
believe
that right there sealed it. But she just doesn't tell the whole story.
As a
Right.
matter of fact, you know what? You know what? All kidding aside, you're right. You're right because the episode proves it. Because the very fact that she showed up at the warehouse to confront Arisha and Sakuri knocked her from the back. The very fact that she was on the plane helping to fight everything. So if she left the island then, she's left it before. That would be a valid assumption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You're right. You're right, Eisen. Yeah.
That's why I said when you look at it, that character, she represents hypocrisy.
True. Very true. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's what I was saying. Basically, she's hypocrisy, and it wasn't just her. Similar to how basically like
It was the
mothers.
whole it was the whole damn island. That's what you're saying.
It was the whole damn island, but bringing it to our lives, it's not just our mothers who are the ones who held information from
Exactly.
why our fathers the way they are. It's everybody because they were all on that bullshit dating men they shouldn't have been with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought that's where you were going.
yeah,
That's why I said
yeah.
earlier. That's why I said earlier. I know where you're going. I figured that's where you were going and you're dead right. You're dead
And
right.
the other thing,
Because regardless of wherever Hippolyta landed, whether she came first, last, or in the middle, you're not going to build a grave on an island for a man, and the other women are not going to know.
You're like, what's this
Which
bump
which
over
which
here? Because
which
nobody
which
who's dying there.
Exactly, which means, and at the very least, she would have to explain what happened and how the girl got there. So that
at
means
least to one of them, anyways.
exactly. So that means the entire island was culpable in this lie. Yeah, I see where you're going. I got you.
At
Now.
least the one. It was more than just her, but I don't know. I would venture to say probably at least one or two more because here's the thing: what she could do, being she is supreme authority on that island. She could pretty much, hey, look, it's not for you to worry about.
But
Yeah,
we
she
know,
could.
but we know women know. Women are
Mm.
quizzical. Curiosity killed the
But
cat.
here's the
Women,
difference, though. True. But here is a difference, though, too. You're talking about a culture of women who don't have men in their presence, who have lived without them. So they are going to be some. They're going to be. There's no way for them to not be different from women who have been around men constantly.
From the average free fell. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so their masculinity is coming from a different that they show comes from a different place than what the other women's would.
right. But also in like basically like say like this is a military. These are
Yes.
military women. Everybody ain't Majority of them are, and they all have to learn hands-on-hand combat. But there's some
All of
women
them.
that are smart strategically more than physically.
True.
True.
So there would
But they're
have to be,
still but
huh?
they're still trained militaristically.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. But if they're trained militaristically and they're also women, somebody has to be like a secret service there that checks itself, kind of like how the head of the FBI can't be checked by the president because you basically have a checks and balances type thing. And he
That's where
has
the
to,
plot armor lies. There isn't one.
Okay. Okay.
There wasn't one. There was never that person until okay, the movie you had Hippolyta's sister this past movie, and then this one it was Diana
Hmm.
who went against the grain. Uh Peace Shing Shang and Peace New.
Hmm.
And the thing about Diana, and that's why I was saying earlier about regardless of how we look at this, we got to, regardless of all the characters in play in the story, it really is always going to come back down to the difference on how that affects Diana.
Okay,
Because
right,
because she's the continuing character no matter what.
right.
And the fact of the matter is that by looking at her mother's actions and learning that's not right, and looking at Arisha's actions and learning that's not right, it goes back to what we said earlier about her being able to open up and be more feminine and more dealing with men better. And
Because
in
of her
and right, and in that respect, it shows a lesson to both sides, male and female, that we are better working together if we all got our shit straight. you know. And like I said, I could be reaching, but I get a little bit of that at
the
the end
whole,
of the
I
movie.
mean that was the premise of it, but the truth is
Well, yeah, I know the truth is,
these women gonna be Orisha and Hippolyta. That's the truth of the matter.
yeah, right, yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
I
But
want to.
because unfortunately, let's be real, we're never gonna have Diana. We're always gonna have Hippolyta or Arisha
Exactly.
or a combination of the two in one. That's just all it is to it.
Yeah, because basically the Diana has to be there because we know that they won't listen to a man.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
I think the problem is there are women similar to Diana,
I
but
don't.
they're very but they're that's why I say similar, but they're not like her because they don't go against the sisterhood. They basically
So
go
they
to
can't
the
be similar to her then.
no. You could be similar and not be 100% like I could be like that's like fifty
I'm not
percent.
saying
Like
100%, but look, if there either you are or you aren't, there is no fist city.
no
No,
no
no,
no
no,
no.
no. That's not what he's saying. That's not what he's saying. I mean, he agrees with you on that, but what he's saying is that you can still be an individual who have some characteristics that are similar to a particular person, but not be like that person. That's all he's saying.
Right. It's
Um,
kind of like purple pill, right? Like purple pill. Like you know what the fuck is going on, but you choose to do the opposite.
yeah,
Purple pill, watch this. Purple
purple
pill
pill
would
is
be Hippolyta.
Huh?
that's
Purple
correct.
pill would be Hippolyta. I'm trying to tell you, there is no Diana. No one is similar to her because no
Well,
one is her.
my bad. Not Diana. I was trying to say Hawk Girl. I was trying to say Hawk Girl. Like
Yeah,
basically, she's coming into the information with a clean slate. Where basically there are women that be like, yo, this shit is fucked up, but at the same time,
Yeah.
they are with the chick.
well,
Yeah.
Hey, you
okay.
know the funny thing is
I don't know.
that would be a good comparison because of the simple fact of what the fuck Hot Girl does later.
Well, see, and the thing,
Because you just like them too, yeah.
and the thing with Hog Girl is that Hog Girl. Okay, we have we have two concepts. We have unicorn and we have Nawalt. Hawk Girl would fall more along the lines of a Nawalt.
No,
She says she's not another woman like that, but you can see tendencies in her that could be that.
yeah. Like, ain't no tendencies. You find out later
Well, yeah,
that
Hawk
there
Girl
is
ain't no
no
joke.
such
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
as a
yeah,
co-op.
yeah,
They're
yeah. Because
all like that.
But then the thing is that like the Hawk Girl is like other women, but also she's different because she was raising such a vicious
No, she's not. No, she's not. Because if you look at her whole story from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, she's hooking up with Green Lantern, knowing full well she's acting as a spy, sleeping with him when she's already got a man who's the commander of the Thanagarian.
Right.
no, so that means she's like other women, right?
Wait, hold on. Well, actually, she forgets part of it. But when you go all the way back to the beginning, when they were in Egypt, and she was stepping out on him, when they were gods in Egypt, she was stepping out on Hawkman.
Well, that was
his ancestors.
Actually, that was season 3, and that was a different version of
that
it. That was a different guy. What I'm talking.
That was John Stewart's ancestor.
Say again.
That's what it's supposed to represent. That was John Stewart's ancestor.
Ancestor.
Yes.
Are you talking about his descendant in the future?
Well, no, that's not his descendant in the future. You're talking about his son. They end up having a son, but whenever it goes back at the end, before Justice League ends, you find out because of, I think it's because of that shadow that came from Hawkman that wanted to kill him.
That was the first season. That's the first season when they changed it to Justice League Unlimited. I'm talking about
before that.
Yeah, I'm talking about the first season of Justice League. Period.
That's what I'm talking about. But you find all this out before not Themyscira, but before the Thanagarians come to invade.
Yeah, I don't remember that like that.
She forgot.
Yeah. I got it different in my head.
Yeah, but when you go back, you find out that her and John Stewart's ancestor, she had been sleeping around. She had been sneaking out on Hawkman to fool with him. So this is how they made that. It was kind of like a reoccurring generational thing.
Well, I guess I'm going on Hawk Girl with her mindset of her actually in the show, like how she always is, not in like
That's how she always was.
Yeah, but she didn't know that stuff though. I'm not saying that she wasn't like that. What I'm saying is that she wasn't like that was like basically like in her, but it wasn't like basically she doesn't have those memories. But
those old memories, but she remembers it while she was there.
Right.
And that was to invade that was to help be the way for the Thanagarian Empire.
Oh crap.
Can I go real fast, Lawrence? So I lose this in my head.
Oh no, I'm sorry. That was my outside voice. I wasn't talking. I'm sorry, my bad.
From what I see, Hawk Girl and the Amazons are basically two female groups that are strong and independent, but the Amazons are artificial because they have no access to the outside world and they're given like godlike abilities to be immortal. Where Hawk Girl basically came from a superly rough environment where most women wouldn't survive at all. So that's why she is somewhat of a Nawalt with the tendencies of a woman because she is still a woman. So basically that's why she's tough as shit like that, but she doesn't see things. She wasn't raised artificially away from men. So she doesn't have those views. But as time goes on, those type of things come out of her because that's naturally in women. Like that's why it's like she can see the faults in the Amazonians because they're isolated. The only thing they can go off was each other and strength, and they have like godlike abilities where basically Hawk Girl grew up fighting. She grew up fighting men, women. It didn't matter. Kill or be killed.
This is what I think. What I took from it because of what I know later.
Hey, I'll be right back. I'm sorry.
All right.
To me, it was a way for her to soften up and weaken Diana for whenever the Thanagarians came.
What do you mean?
Because she understands how that that natural biological attraction to a man clouds your judgment. So for me, I think that was what her hope in doing was with Wonder Woman.
So you saying that Hawk Girl did that to Diana?
Yes.
Like she tried to soften her up?
Exactly.
And say why again?
Because the Thanagarians, she was there because the Thanagarians needed, let's say, what they call it? It's like a space bridge. They were there to get rid of the Earth. But they were also there to have time to study and understand their ability to be able to fight against the Thanagarian Empire. So she knows with Diana that is a threat. Having her emotionally compromised with men makes her a danger to the planet as
I
well.
dig what you're saying. So she was playing her like a fiddle too. Oh, I get you. I get you. I get you because she's like, because that's her future. Just like how women do. They know who their future enemies is, so they play coy.
Exactly.
They play coy like shit. Like they'll do
yeah,
it with men because men are on some basic sexual shit, aka Grundy. But women, they'll kind of play the long game like a motherfucker. And
Well, Grundy wouldn't be on no basic sexual shit. Grundy would be what they would call, and I hate using the term because he's not educated, but he would be the lame.
yeah, yep, he would. And looking at it from a female perspective, when they're playing the long game with their own gender, it goes back to what I've said before. You see how quick she was able to turn. Arisha was able to turn on Hippolyta, her own mother, Diana, her sister, got no shame in taking out Hawk Girl or anybody else. Like I said, if you can't even trust your own, I'm not gonna trust you.
Right.
yeah,
So
and I want to add this to it before I lose my thought. The Superman exchange with Arisha and Superman.
Mm-hmm.
That says to me because Superman and her got into a skirmish, and it shows that the strongest of us won't take this serious and will be destroyed for it.
Yeah.
Because he could have got her out of
Yeah.
there from the jump, but he didn't
Hey,
see her as a threat.
he
Just
said
like
Well,
that
no,
too.
it's not that he doesn't see her as a threat so much as the simple fact, okay, um, it was in one of the movies where he states with Darkseid, he's used to holding back against humans because of the simple fact for him, it's they're brittle. He could break them with ease.
yeah, but he's like that with everything though.
Exactly. But so what I'm saying is now, yeah, he's like that with everyone. So now with a woman there and him supposed to be, this is not the white knight deal, he
Exactly.
holds back even more.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It says that basically how the men who could stop this from the jump won't. They're going to end up crumbling because they're not going to take this as serious as everyone
Right.
else.
Mm.
And basically, it's going. You have to fight round two because the people that can stop it are going to be like, it ain't that serious, like she just want a little bit of power here and there.
Yeah.
Well,
And then by the,
yeah, and the funny part is you see that play out twice. You see it play out with Batman, and you see it play out with Superman. Batman, right out the gate, was not even trying to trifle with her. He just automatically assumed she was a danger.
Yes.
He was surprised at her strength, but he knew well enough to know to get some type of evidence because he took her serious.
Right. Yeah.
Superman, when she threw him, the only thing he did was stand up and go, "Oh, you're stronger than I expected, but you won't win this," and that was it. I mean, he
Right.
went straight into fighting her because she's a woman as a white knight.
Yes.
Batman went straight into all of them. He took out Star Sapphire. He took out shit. He did not play.
But
Everybody, as far as Batman's concerned, he goes into everybody like he Black Bill, straight up.
and the
So,
difference is though with her, he took caution because he did not know who she was. She was
mhm,
new and he does his homework on everyone. And
mhm.
he knew something was odd about her. And I think, the way she spoke to him gave it away.
That and the jewelry he snatched.
Well, that's why he snatched the jury
Yeah, exactly.
as proof
Yeah.
because he knew Diana wouldn't believe him.
Yep. Because remember when he gave the jewelry to Diana, he already knew who she was. He said it's
Exactly. He figured it out.
yeah. He said it's an Amazon.
Yeah.
And
That's why
she said no, it's not. And he said, well, this is Amazonian design, and threw the bracelet at her.
yeah.
She said no, it's not true, and threw it back at him.
Yeah, she
Like
said it
a
must be a
forgery.
fake, a forgery. That's
Yeah.
it.
I
And
said,
that's why
and it made me laugh because that's this classic situation. No matter what, deny, because you cannot sell out your system.
and that was the other thing
So,
too. At the way she spoke, it identified as a feminist.
Mhm.
That's why he knew, to get. That's why he knew to grab it
All right, back, yo.
Yeah.
because it identified her.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because like I said, I'm pretty sure when they first saw this, it was a feminist wet dream until the end of the second part.
Yeah, and Shing Shang is a fool,
What happened?
but his statement down there with Hawk Girl.
Guess Hawk Girl couldn't stay from. You know what?
That's why I said he is a fool.
Not only couldn't she stay away from him, but he had a power ring. Get my drift? Oh, so, fired up.
And
But
let's see.
yeah, but yeah, like I said, I mean, like I said, everything Dwayne McDuffie is good. I mean, you could, I mean, every episode you could break down an analysis like this. This man knew how to write stories. He did.
Yes, it was great. It was
He,
wonderful.
he truly did. And
It was.
it's been a while since I've watched it, so I enjoyed myself. I did.
I did too. I
I,
did
I
too.
enjoyed myself. I missed this type of animation and this type of storytelling. And like I said before, and I'll stand by it, and I'm pretty sure everybody else will. You couldn't get away with that kind of story today. You just couldn't.
Oh no, no, no. There's no way.
Yeah,
There's no way you could do it.
I
Couldn't
mean,
get away with it.
before you know, not even 3 minutes after, not even 3 minutes after the episode aired, people would have been on Twitter losing their minds.
Oh yeah. They
How
would have
can you
been
treat a
going
woman like
nuts.
that? Yada yada. It's like, dude,
They would have been.
it's just a story, dude. Chill.
Yeah, they would have been going nuts. They would have been going nuts.
You know,
But
it's like, grab your dildo and go relax. You go do something. Play some scissors. I don't know. But yeah. But like I said, some of the stuff Aegon was saying, he was solid on. He
oh
was
yeah,
solid.
yeah, most
Okay, I'm back.
definitely. I agree.
Yeah. Oh, hey, what's up?
What's good, man?
What's good? What's good? What's good?
But yeah, I was just repeating what I said before about you couldn't get away with that kind of story nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely you could, and it'd be thrown off.
Oh yeah.
It'd be
Well,
thrown.
yeah, like I was saying, 3 minutes after it aired, man, they'd be on Twitter losing their minds.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think we talked about this one as good as we could.
I hit all my points. I'm good.
Yeah. You got anything left you want to say, Aegon?
Give me 2 minutes. Give me 2 minutes because I'm trying to think that I miss anything.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to look at every character's dynamic because so Grundy is the horse from Animal Farm. So
I like that, by the way. That was a good analogy.
yeah.
And I've never seen Animal Farm, so
you gonna dig it. You gonna dig it.
You would. Yeah, you would like it. You really would.
Yeah, if you like if you like how you dig Eisen,
yes.
like you could tell that the person that wrote his character was into this shit. Like, he was into Orson Welles.
Okay.
I mean,
when I was growing up, yeah, I'm sorry, Aegon, go ahead.
You good. Keep going. Let me think.
No, I was just gonna say, when I was growing up, Animal Farm was required reading. I mean, that was right.
Oh, it's a book? Okay.
Well, they made a movie of it too.
Okay.
But Animal Farm, 1984, with George Orwell, Albert Camus's The Stranger, everything from Shakespeare. I mean, that was required reading.
Okay. I think the first book that I remember reading was The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I think I was in third grade.
That's the Christian author. I can't remember his name.
Oh gosh, I don't know, but I was in the third grade and we had to pick up books and read them, and that was the one. I don't know. I guess I saw the line on there and it made me want to read it. And I've since gone back here later and read all 7 books, but yeah, that was the first one I remember reading. Of course, I remember reading John Henry.
Oh yeah, everybody read John Henry. Yeah,
right.
Well, at least they should.
Also, Where the Red Fern Grows, Old Yeller. I read those.
Mm-hmm.
Back when I was younger, I'm trying to remember. Those are the ones that stuck out to me.
Hey, what is Blaze asking? He said, "Wasn't it based on the Bolshevik Revolution?" Are you talking about Animal Farm?
I think it was in Russia.
Yeah. I was gonna say if he's talking about Animal Farm, I think it was.
Yeah.
It was an analogy to it or something like that.
Yeah. Eisen. Animal Farm is basically like these farmer animals that are being mistreated by the farmer. Okay. So they all get together and then kick the farmer out, and then they make the pigs the leaders. and then the pigs are actually worse than the farmer, and then they end
Maybe
up.
I did read that long
Yeah,
ago.
see, you probably did. See,
Maybe I did. It sounds familiar, so maybe I did. I just don't remember it.
and it's like basically it's communism because it's like this:
Okay.
everybody's created equal. After the farmer got kicked away, the ideology is everybody's created equal, but pigs are more equal than everybody else
Mm.
because they basically went for the power, and then they used the same people that got them in power and did them dirty too to stay in power,
Yeah.
and then as time went on, they basically asked the farmer to come back and work with them and stuff like that. So
Gotcha.
yeah, you gonna dig that shit.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, the only thing that keeps coming back in my mind is Hippolyta, and you're right. Hypocrisy floats in her because just like in all our lives, like I love my mom to death. Like she's one of the smartest people I ever met, but it shows that most problems in families come from the top down, and if they're not corrected from the top down, it's it's going to break apart. And that's why
Yes.
I think that's why most families split up because things that happened 40 years ago weren't corrected, and it ain't one or two people, it's majority of people that
Multiple.
back they back that they back it up, and then when things start to crumble, they act like they want to fix something, and then you got the younger cats, aka the Justice League, or like say Batman, Diana, the Hawk Girl, they trying to find an answer for this problem, but it's the problem really lies with the people that basically ran to you to solve it.
Mm.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
yeah, and it shows like it's always a tree, a fucking a web, a superly web of deceit with people
well,
that
if I'm
you
sorry.
got it, you got it, you got it.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, I want to hear what you guys say.
Oh, no, what I was going to say is I agree with you. All you have to do, especially in Black culture, and I'm pretty sure it's every generation, but speaking from my generation and the one that came before me, um, you see that a lot. When the men aren't maintaining the position that they're supposed to have in the family hierarchy, what you end up getting is similarities like myself, in which you have the women who are running everything. And those women keep secrets upon secrets upon secrets that before you know it, you realize it's been 3 or 4 generations of secrets that eventually, like everything else, the truth will come to light. And then they've got to sit there and they've got to explain themselves. And the funny part is that most of them hope they die before that moment comes because they wouldn't have to face it. But at the same time, they leave the burden of facing it onto the women they left after them.
Right.
Between my birth mother, sisters, great aunts. I mean, man, there was so many things that came out like in the last decade of my life. It's insane because they all wanted to just keep it a whisper hush. But me being who I am, I like the truth. I go hunting, and then when I find it, and I drop it like it's hot, we get 2 things. We either get women trying to deny the aspect of it, or instead of accepting the guilt and shame of it, they try to flip it back on you. And then on the other side of it, you get the men who want a white knight for them, which, well, that was a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? We got to learn to forgive and forgive and forget. But dude, it messed you over too. Yeah. So yeah, it's just bad. I mean, as a communitas, excuse me, not community, communita.
Right.
That runs deep within our people. It really does. Um, and that's why, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to go off on a different tangent, but when we as a people sit and talk about we want acknowledgement from white people and everybody else about what's done to us, how about we do our backyard first and we start acknowledging what we've done to each other and start putting everything on the table.
Right.
Once we clean that up, we can be united, and then we can go after everybody else.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. It's kind of like can I go, Eisen?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's kind of like let's say like the Robert Kelly situation. It's like let's kind of compare it to basically this story in Marvel. I mean in DC. You got a guy who's been running amok for like the past 30 years. and a lot of people have been down with him. I mean, a lot of people have been down with him for profit. But then, as soon as he doesn't become profitable, everybody turns their back on him and acts like he's a big problem, when he should have been stopped by year two. Year two, there was enough evidence to lock this guy up, but everybody wanted to be down. Everybody wanted to be a part of the how, like, basically Arisha was basically like she was the one, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
kind of like Anakin Skywalker, you're supposed to be the one. So basically, when Yoda said that, it should have been high alert. When Yoda and Mace Windu said, like, "Yo, you are the one, but you're gonna destroy us all," it should have been high alert. Like, let's get this out of this kid. Let's put him through some trial and error. It was like, no, we got a war to take care
What
of.
on that note, that's the funny thing. What's not really spoken of is that the Sith had one too.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, that's right. They did.
Anakin was the one for the Sith.
Yeah.
Um, Luke was actually the one for the Jedi. But when I've read through the expanded universe, so I've read plenty of books. But what people don't understand is this simple fact: the Force, it's an entity. So it's always trying to actually balance what the other one does. The other is trying to get rid of the other. The Force doesn't actually want that. It actually wants the balance to equate out. Because if you actually get rid of the other, you're actually getting rid of the Force altogether in general.
Yeah, because the thing about the Force is that the fourth cares neither for good nor evil, only balance. What the individual does with the Force is what upsets the balance.
Right. So the Force has to work the other way to set the balance back right.
Hmm. Yep.
Yep.
Right.
Which is why, actually the gray Jedi are actually more along, actually aligned closer to what they're actually supposed to be, because in the origins of the Jedi, it was actually spelled different. The first group of them, it was spelled different, and they originated from the deep core of the universe, and it was actually the star system of Tython on the no Tythos. The planet was called Tython, and on this planet it had two moons, and it was a planet that was strong in the Force, and everyone on it had to actually literally be in balance, because whenever they went out of balance, it caused massive force storms that could rip the whole planet apart. So
Yeah. I saw that. Somebody made a comic on that. I saw that. Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, I know it was originally a book, but somebody did a comic
Yeah,
version of
I
it.
read.
I saw.
I actually have that book. I've got a friend borrowing it now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, that was yeah,
It was tearing the planet. It was literally tearing the planet apart.
yeah. They had those two moons. One that was more infused and in tune with the dark side, and the other with the light. And
Hmm.
whichever side you were on, they sent you to that to balance out the force storms in the planet, to balance out the light and the dark, to keep everything in balance.
And it makes me laugh thinking about that too, because around the same time frame, because the first Star Wars came out in '77. The interesting part about that is somewhere within months or at least a year, Jack Kirby had did something similar with the Fourth World Odyssey at DC,
Hmm.
with Apocalypse representing the dark side and New Genesis representing
Right. With the new
the
gods.
yeah,
Yeah.
the light side with the new gods. Yeah, and it's just It's just interesting to see how that process and that theory just permeates itself through a variety of different genres and creators, and it's just fascinating.
Right. It is.
It's fascinating.
You know
It
who
is.
yeah, you know who remind, like, what just popped in my head is about Batman, like what dynamic he has. Because basically, remember when the Justice League was first formed in the series, Batman was like, "I'm not a member of y'all.
Yeah.
I'm cool with y'all, but I can't be down with this lighthouse type thing. Like, because you guys are basically gods hovering over people, and the
Right.
people still need somebody to fight for them. Kind of like how Katniss was, but
Hmm.
but the Katniss was a
Mm.
government. He is kind of like the black male in a black family who loves his family but loves them from a distance, and who pop in and out. You know what I mean? When you grow up, you try and do the right thing, but you see that everybody's corrupted somewhat, but you love them. but you come back in to like to talk to the younger generation or people you can help or people that need you on some like if you really want to help them, but then you keep your distance. You know what I mean? You in and out with them because you know like you know because Batman saw the long run of them. All these powerful beings in one spot is going to cause for it's going to be a civil war because somebody's going to get mad and not and do something. It's just going to be a domino effect. He's going to do something to her. She's going to do something to him, and then it's going to be two sides against each other. Then they go
and regular humans are the one who lose out because they don't stand it. They're like sheets of paper in that. Which is why Superman said that it's exactly why you're needed to be here to be able to keep that balance, to keep that head right.
Right. Yep. Yeah, I think I'm done. I think I can talk about this all night. I get ready for work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Cool.
Yeah, Eisen, can I say my parting, John?
Go ahead. Yeah. Do you?
Shout out to Eisen Simon. Shout out to Lawrence Fishburne. Shout out
Oh, you silly.
Shout out to Lawrence God, man. Oh, this is a great discussion, man. The funny thing, I fell asleep on my stream and then I woke up about 7:53, and I was like, oh shit, Eisen about to come on TV. I'm about to go watch him. I'm glad I came over because at first it took for y'all to start talking about this episode of how relevant it is and basically to this day and time and basically how great writing means something. Like I remember David Carey used to talk about how basically what is like the history of people? What's the word for the history of people and writing and art and stuff like that all together? Is that I don't know the name for it, but basically he was talking about like how if things are written now, people are going to read about them later, like this is how these people lived, and basically come out with ideas. Huh?
It's called anthropology, isn't it?
Okay, let's go anthropology.
Yeah, that's it.
It matters so much because the anthropological whatever the information that's created now in 20 years people are going to be backtracking to that and acting like it's real solid information when we know it's on some BS. So that's why it matters of good writing and good writing and balanced storytelling matters so much because we go back to this time to basically get clarity clarity and evaluations on what's going on now to go. But basically, what does a 10-year-old that's going to be 30 in 20 years go back to if he doesn't have the wherewithal to go back 70 years to what we were looking at because his stuff is all out of whack.
Right.
So that's why I'm glad we had this discussion.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you got to have two things. You got to have you have to have anthropology, and you have to have history.
Right.
History is the written agenda of what has happened. Anthropology is living proof of what happened. Because with history is written by the victors.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? So history is written documentation that can inform, but anthropology proves. There's a difference between the two. But you need both.
Gotcha. And go ahead, Lawrence. I guess if you're done, Agon.
I'm done. Thank you. Let me speak.
You're welcome. Yeah. I was just saying you need both because one informs or verifies the other in some shape, form, or fashion. You can't get past that. But other than that, thank you, Eisen, for having me up here. It was a fun discussion. Yes. Agon, always good to see you, little brother. Always. Yeah. And make up your mind between Fishburne or Batman. You gotta pick one. I'd prefer Batman, but I'll lay it up to you.
Yo, Eisen, can I say this to Lawrence real fast?
Yeah.
I said this to Eisen earlier. Yo, you and Lawrence and Eisen are the reason why that basically I realized that I was a Marvel stan because I grew up watching Marvel and the potential of it be thwarted through the X-Men, Spider-Man, which were great series. Fantastic Four was okay. Iron Man was okay. But basically the comics, I like the comics too, but and also the canon behind that, I love that shit so much that I put mental blockers in my mind that DC wasn't better when basically I grew up off DC. I had Batman the animated series. I had Batman the Adam West. I had Batman the movies. I had Superman the animated series. I've had Smallville. I've had Justice League, Justice League Unlimited. All the movies. Marvel can't even compete to that stuff. They can't even compete. And
I think when it comes to the animated aspect, no, Marvel cannot. The best that they did have was the Uncanny X-Men and the Amazing Spider-Man. Iron Man was okay, and like you said, Fantastic Four was slightly less than that. But now when it's come to the cinematic, golly,
Marvel's got it.
Marvel's got it. Even though I don't care for the feminism, but
Yeah,
they laid it out much better than what DC has.
But the thing is, I get that. I get that because that's a new age thing.
Yes.
But when you think about it, like they did a good job making the movies.
It's been going on for about 10 years.
Yeah, it's been going on for 10 years. They did a great job. Let me give props. They did a great job because DC didn't do it. But if we can take each 2-parter episode of Justice League. We can take of Justice League Unlimited, Batman the series, Superman, and break those down. And Batman Beyond and break those down and get way more out of those than we can the Marvel universe. I mean, the Marvel universe of the cinematics. Like the DC has basically been putting in work like that. Like I love Marvel off potential because I wanted to see the Age of Apocalypse. I wanted to see the Second Coming in the House of M and stuff like that. It was just cool.
I think the X-Men hit it too, because I know what you're forgetting. When you look at how the Morlocks were treated and pushed underground in New York,
right?
Toad being a representation of that. When you looked at all that,
the Sentinels. I love the Sentinels. I love I love the potential of Nimrod, man. Like how demonic that shit is. Like basically Master Mold having a top Sentinel that can't be destroyed, and like in the history of Nimrod and like Kush and stuff like that. I love that, but then it just didn't bring it all together like how DC did.
They quit.
Yeah, and it's
not doing right. It wasn't terrible. What they did was they made themselves irrelevant.
Right.
Because when you think of when you think of how they handled mental breakdowns, when you go back to Marvel, what I think about, you probably forgot about it, was Morph.
Oh yeah. Morph had mental health issues.
Morph and Wolverine, that was great.
He's trying to pull his buddy out. Basically, that was like on some Vietnam stuff. Like he was basically trying to pull his best friend out of like the darkness.
Exactly. So it's just that the problem was they stopped and they dropped the ball after Uncanny X-Men.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now they did have a couple of good movies. Those 2 Avenger animated movies were great. I can't take that away. Because of whenever the Hulk turned on Giant Man, Ant-Man, beat the crap out of Captain America. The only one that kind of stood a chance was Thor, and then whenever he made him mad enough to be able to pick up that hammer and sling it at him and hit him in the head with it and started taking him out too, and Betty had to come on her own because he was messing everybody up. That was great writing.
Yeah.
That's the best animated movie that they've had.
Right, and DC has just been murdering with the animated movies.
Yeah.
And like them shows I grew up with, and Static Shock too.
Yeah,
Static Shock was way before Miles Morales, and he went back to Africa, and he linked up with the Justice League. It's just so much DC did that basically I love and that's another thing with basically like how I'm just like Hippolyta, what's her name?
Hippolyta. You
can fall in love with a person's potential and then make you block somebody's real light. You know what I mean? How when somebody in a family is supposed to be like you got family members that basically They was the lightest complexion. They was real smart, charismatic, but they ain't do shit. But people act like they are still the one after 30 years and not doing shit. Where basically you've been working your ass off, and you might have came from like a shakier background, but you doing your thing now, and everybody still treats you like what you were before. And people can fall in love with the thought of them of what the thought of what somebody should be. Like he's
Could be.
supposed to be like what he could be. He's supposed to be the shit because in my mind, I saw when he was 12 years old, he could jump real high, or he made me feel like this. And I felt that's how I felt with Marvel. Like these guys could take over the world with their comics, and then they just didn't do it. In my brain, I was like, that one day they're gonna make Age of Apocalypse. One day, man, they're gonna make a good series with Master Mold and all that stuff, and give everybody like because they got mad characters, and they never did. They never did, and the X-Men still hasn't got their due.
Yeah, and the best thing they've had in the cinematic to me was First Class. First Class was a wonderful movie. It was the best out of every X-Men movie that they have done. There's no need to bring up that X3 or even worse, X-Men Apocalypse. God, that was so horrible. But and they failed with Dark Phoenix too. Trying to cram everything off into one movie. That was horrible. But I guess the only thing we can do is wait, kind of see what they do further.
Yeah, basically.
But yeah, man. Yeah, like I said, as far as it goes for the live action stuff with DC, I think DC's problem is that where Marvel's concerned, I mean, they got decent storytelling in their movies, they do, but it's a lot of splash, and all that good stuff. A lot of hyperbole, a lot of style.
Yes,
More style than substance. But it's hard to do that, and that's what the problem the DC cinematic live action universe is having because they're trying to do that, not understanding that their stories are more character driven and more fundamental storytelling without all that splash and dash and all that style and all that. And they've been spending more time on the style than on the substance.
and then too, just the era of today, they're trying. The truth is that DC was always a much darker story than Marvel, except for different points.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you got to the X-Men and you had to deal with the Morlocks, and that was serious stuff. But I mean, as far as overall darker, nothing's darker than Gotham.
You ain't lying.
Golly, I mean, it's like Chicago on crack.
Mm-hmm.
It's bad. Then when you got to, who else? I mean, of course, the real only bright spot in it, well, of course, Superman because of his nature. But when it got to Billy Batson, because he's a kid, so it had to be told from a different aspect there because his character's a kid, and it was targeted at a much younger audience. So it had to be goofy at times. And then finally, they kind of change and adjust to bring him in so he can come into the Justice League at a much later point, but he's still a kid.
Yeah,
and
yeah, because DC did that because you have to remember Shazam was bought out through a lawsuit with Fawcett Comics, and when Fawcett introduced Shazam, it was darker.
Okay.
It was his origin anyway. The other stories became a combination of lighthearted and dark. But yeah. That the DC got him all kitty like. The new version they have now, they definitely made darker again.
Okay.
Yeah. It's yeah. I just wish they get they live cinematic universe straight. Because, like I said, if they could pull off even half in the live action than what they do in the animation, they're gonna be good.
And one of the things that where they failed, they tried to go to Justice League too early. You did not have a Batman movie before that.
And that's the other thing too. We don't need another Batman Begins. We don't need another origin story of Superman. We don't need another origin story of Wonder Woman, etc. We know these characters. They are literally in the subconscious of everybody on the planet, pop culture wise. All you need to do is just start making the movies and get into it.
Right, right. Mhm.
And then you do like Marvel did. You put little Easter eggs in there to let
Okay.
people know what's coming next, and et cetera, so on, and you
Right,
build. But they try to do it so fast. They
right.
jump. They jump from Man of Steel to Batman versus Superman to Wonder Woman straight to Justice League. I
Yeah.
mean, you didn't introduce Green Lantern. You didn't introduce Flash properly. Cyborg.
Cyborg should have been there. He's too young.
He should have never been there because no matter what you say about Cyborg, based on the cartoon and everything else, he's always going to be a Titan. It's
Yeah.
just what it is.
But he just had to be a point where you could grow the character to be needed in the story, but you had to grow it instead of just throwing him in there amongst these guys. It,
Exactly.
you, um, so it was terrible writing. They, so I don't know.
And then on top of that, they cut out so much stuff that it made the movie incomprehensible. That's why they're going to release the Snyder cut soon, which
I
is
think it was just
which is expanded from the hour and a half to almost 3 hours in length. Hell, they gave the man more money to do reshoots.
yeah.
So it was always interesting, especially when Snyder had to leave because I believe one of his kids died, his daughter, I think I might be wrong, but they brought in Josh Whedon. First of all, that was stupid. You brought in your competitor's top man. How did you think that was going to end? He wasn't going to make Marvel look bad. That's who he's got his contract with. Because Josh Whedon directed the first two Avengers movies.
Mm.
So seriously, you brought in your competitor's top man to come in and do yours. You think he really was going to make you successful when he owes allegiance to them? That made no sense.
Yeah.
That made no sense. And then Ray Fisher and Jason Momoa, who played Cyborg and Aquaman, are actually going around now talking about how Josh Whedon was racist to them and treated them bad in the whole nine
Damn.
yards. That's been
Yeah,
going on.
that's what they're saying about Joss.
Yeah, they've been going on for a minute. And then there's women talking about, oh, he's the creator of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and he creates strong women and yada
Firefly.
yada.
He's known for Firefly
Yeah,
too. So.
Firefly, and he makes strong women, but in real life, he ain't like that. So it's just a lot of stuff. They haven't been picking the proper directors. They definitely haven't been picking the proper writers because the people you bring in to write, you can tell they don't understand the characters. You look at the interpretation they gave Jesse Eisenberg for Lex Luthor, made no damn sense.
Yeah, it was terrible.
You look at the way they write Barry Allen, makes no damn sense.
Terrible.
The best thing they got right so far, to me personally speaking, as crazy as it sounds, is Ben Affleck's older version of Batman. I
Yes, it
expect
was great.
as Batman to be an older dude. I expect him to be that kind
Like
of
that.
content. I
Like that.
expect him to be like that.
And there were moments in that Batman versus Superman when, especially when he went into that warehouse to get Martha, where you looked at those whole fight scenes and you looked and it was like,
Oh, that was that.
damn,
Oh,
that's
dude.
that's Batman. That's what he
Oh,
would do.
dude. That was straight out of Frank Miller's Dark Knight. There's
It
no
was
question to that.
it
There's
was
no
awesome.
question to that.
And I I actually like Henry Cavill as Superman.
I do.
I
I do.
understand I understand your points of what you didn't like about that movie. Um
Well, that has nothing to do with him.
yeah, no. I know it wasn't
Yeah.
him.
I mean,
You're talking more about the writing of him having to kill Zod.
yeah. I,
Um
I mean, I truly
and I
enjoy Henry Cavill. I've watched him in
yeah,
a lot of stuff. I think
and
he's pretty cool.
yeah, and I get it. And golly. Um but I just love that movie anyways, even though he had to kill him. Being put, in that situation. I hate that they didn't write everything better to where it could show to where that moment right there is why he doesn't kill. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
The way
yeah.
he does hold back because of having to be put in that position to where he can try and find another way to not do it anyways. Because
Here's the thing about Man of Steel that's fascinating to me. I did enjoy the movie. There's just only
yes,
two. There's only two scenes that
right, right.
I didn't. That was the one with him killing Zod, and then there was the scene with Pa Kent and the way he died. But outside of that, I thought the movie was good. As a matter of fact, my favorite parts of the movie was the beginning, watching Krypton.
Yeah.
That could have been a movie in and of itself for me. I
Yeah.
mean, the architecture they did, the special effects, the visual effects, and the whole 9 yards, and and,
Agreed.
and even down to the actors who played Jor-El and Laura and
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
I could have did a whole movie on Krypton alone and been happy.
Yeah.
You think they got?
Colin
You,
Firth
you think they
was
got a
it
lot
was
of that from Sorry, I was real fast. You think they got a lot of that from that book like before Krypton? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, they took a lot of stuff from that book. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was wondering that.
But that's why I'm saying they don't understand the characters because they don't understand the history. They're just taken from particular books
Yeah.
and thinking because if you look at every Batman movie that's made, I'm telling you right now, there's only going to be two books that stick out in your mind: Alan Moore writing The Killing Joke, and definitely Frank Miller, um, um,
Dark
um,
Knight Returns.
the Dark Knight Returns. Oh, I'm sorry, and maybe one more: Jeff Loeb's Long Halloween.
Hmm.
If you look at any Batman film, I promise you, you will see bits and pieces of all three of those books.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
that's how you know they're not fans because there's more to Batman than just three books. The character's been around for 80 freaking years for crying out loud, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And that's why, for me, golly, boy, I really wanted to see that standalone Batman movie with Ben Affleck because his
yes.
Batman has been my favorite so far. I liked Christian Bale's Batman. Um, I liked his Bruce. I think to me, Christian Bale had the better Bruce Wayne in the sense that Bruce Wayne is the mask,
Hmm. Yeah,
and he played that perfectly of this whole character of who Bruce Wayne was supposed to be,
I would
seen
agree.
to take away from him being Batman.
Yeah, I would
Uh,
agree. I would agree because the only other person who played Bruce Wayne that good, in my opinion, was Michael Keaton.
okay, okay, and especially for you have to think about the time too.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely, absolutely.
and But the only problem with Christian Bale's Batman is the simple fact that third movie. God, that movie was
Oh,
horrible.
that was bad. That was
It
that
was
was
all
really
around
bad.
bad.
Yeah, that
It
was
was
bad.
horrible,
And,
all
and
around.
and and what a waste of a good actor like Tom Hardy. That was
Yeah,
just a waste. That was an
the,
absolute waste. I haven't seen Steve Hardy be in anything that bad since he did the last Star Trek movie, Star Trek Nemesis.
yeah,
And that was bad. But if you look at him playing Venom, he's got that nailed. He
yeah,
nailed that. I
right.
mean, he nailed the crap out of
Yeah, it was good, and they did it wonderfully. But yeah, and then I mean the whole premise of him not knowing Talia al Ghul, that right there, I mean that's a key
it. Mhm.
component
It's like he's
to make.
Batman. It's like he's
It's a
Bat.
key
No,
component to making to his life.
what?
Right.
Yeah, it's not just that he's Batman. You got to remember, Talia al Ghul is the mother of his child.
Yeah. Well, you have to thank Talia. I mean, before Catwoman, he loved Talia.
Yeah, he did. He he
Um,
he actually was considering giving up Batman to work for Talia's father, Raish. And
yeah.
during that time, they had a love affair, and she got pregnant, and she had their son Damien, who's the current Robin.
No, well, she didn't. Well, later they write it as he does not know. He didn't know. She actually got him drunk and drugged the alcohol later.
Well, that's
That's how they
true.
had him
Well,
out. I
that's
don't
true.
know about.
Well, that's true. But about 10, 15 years ago, they brought the character back, and she told him the truth. And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
he was raising Damien,
yeah,
who just recently quit being Robin, but he was Robin for over a decade, easy.
okay. Yeah, and the whole thing is too. So I mean, they missed all that from the jump because with the whole race thing, race actually he encouraged it on her end
Mhm.
because he wanted Bruce to be the successor. He wanted her to have a child. So with him,
Yeah, yeah.
Raish had a great amount of respect for him in his
Hmm.
ability because when he addresses him, he calls him detective.
Yeah. That's yeah. Yep. That's
He addresses him by one of his greatest attributes, his detective abilities.
hmm but yo, man, he used to fiend for Bruce to be the chosen one for sure.
Um,
And not only that, but Bruce is the only one he's ever let touch his daughter too.
yeah,
So yeah, it goes on a minute. It goes on a minute.
Yeah.
But like I said, as far as Man of Steel is concerned, overall the movie, it was decent. It's just those two scenes really bother me. And people talk about how hard it is to write villains for Superman, but you missed the point. It's not about Superman. Is not about his villain. Superman is about how he represents the best of humanity, even though he's not human. You know what I mean? So
But
if
you
you
know, so
so if you
what
come
you
at,
mean
if
is,
you huh?
what you mean is he represents what humanity should be.
Yes, correct. Yeah, that is correct. That is correct. What humanity should be. And if you come at it from that character-driven aspect, it'll work. It's not, as a matter of fact, I don't even have to pretend. We've seen it. We've seen Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
I mean, to this
Even
day,
though he's only got two movies, the other two don't exist in my book.
well, the first two are good. The last three sucked.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is that Christopher Reeve nailed it so well. We still use him as a standard for every other dude that plays Superman.
Yeah. Yeah. True. We
You, you
do.
yeah, you can't say that about Batman. You can't say that about Wonder Woman. Sure, we can crack jokes about Linda Carter when we were kids, but for the most part, Gal Gadot is doing pretty okay as Wonder Woman. She's a little
She's doing good.
she's a little
Gal Gadot,
scraw- yeah, she's a little scrawny for my taste, but but
she's
nonetheless,
doing good. But I still think
yes,
of Linda Carter. It's hard to not being
absolutely.
um
Yeah. It's hard, but bottom line is though, Christopher Reeve, we hold every single person, whether it's TV or movie, we hold Superman up to
true.
that standard.
And I think up until this fiasco that Warner Brothers and all them messed up, I think Ben Affleck could have been that standard.
Oh yeah, I
Because
think
I,
so.
I mean, golly, the dialogue in that movie between him and Alfred, it was a different dynamic because we see a war torn, much more black pilled, harder Bruce has been through hell.
Oh yeah, this is like 20 years after his career. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And then we see the aspect of him and Diana, and how he handles with everybody else as well.
Hmm.
It's very, very interesting, and the whole time you have to remember which one was it. No, I'm thinking about the wrong movie. Never mind. Um, but you probably have to factor in that probably at some point, he's seen the death of Dick Grayson, um,
Oh, you mean
because this is
Jason? You mean Jason
no
Todd?
Jason Todd. Jason, wait, no, hold on.
Yeah,
I
it was
thought Dick
Jason.
Grayson. Which one was it?
It was
No,
Jason.
that's right. It was Jason Todd. No,
Yeah,
that's
it
right.
was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it
right.
was
Got beat with
Jason.
a crowbar.
Yep,
Yeah,
the Joker. Yeah, that was the
yeah.
Joker.
And
Yeah,
Rage took him and put him into the Lazarus pit. That's right. That's right.
yeah.
That's
Later
right.
on to bring him back. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he became the Red Hood.
Yep.
But yeah, that was You have to think that he's seen that. But also with the whole Superman thing, I think they just had a bad choice of villains for him to have to struggle through.
Agreed.
Um, um, Michael Shannon's portrayal of Zod was,
Oh, I love that.
oh my
Oh,
God,
dude,
it was
that was
great.
the best part of the movie, dude.
I mean,
That was the best.
whenever he snapped, and when Superman was mocking him, because he was telling him, it took me years to get to adjust and do, and he said, when he said you were raised in some squalor farm, I was bred to do this, and you think that this would stop me, and he threw all that armor, and he started flying, he was floating in front of him.
Mhm.
And then
Yep.
you can see the facial expressions that Henry Cavill when they changed, like, oh shit.
But the best part for me with Zod was right before all that happened.
Ah,
When he had stopped him and Zod was on his knees and you could hear the pain in his voice. He said, I was bred to
yes,
protect the
my
people,
people. Oh
the
God.
people of
Oh yeah.
Krypton.
After he
And
destroyed
now
everything.
yeah,
Yes.
he said, so I was born and bred to protect the people of Krypton.
No
And
matter
now,
how
because of
cruel,
you, no matter how cruel, no matter what I've had to done, it has always been for the protection of my people. And now, because of you,
I
I
have no
have no
people.
people. I
I
was
have
like,
no
damn.
purpose. I have no purpose. Oh
I
my
was like,
God.
that was the best scene. That was the
Yes.
best scene out of the whole movie. I got that on loop.
That was great. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
His portrayal of Zod was epic.
Yep. But
And
that's one of my clips I keep. That and John Cryer with the one I showed you with him doing
yeah,
like
yeah, and he had to have that epic, memorable dialogue there between both of those scenes, as
Mhm.
well as whenever he said, whenever he unleashed those that heat vision on that family,
Yeah,
and was
yeah,
like,
the
you got a
family.
choice, and
Hmm.
it had to be something so powerful and so moving emotionally because of the simple fact of how Feora before that literally beat the shit out of him and
Yeah,
handled him. So you had to have something that was more impactful to the character in another way. And that was great writing there.
yeah,
And great acting as well. It was
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. And I'm just sad it had to end like that with him
Yeah,
killing.
it did. But and I hate that they messed up everything after that, because they could have come back with the way this moment right here. And Henry Cavill even stated that he wanted to that he wanted to go further into how this emotionally affected this character.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he did. Wait, and he made that decision because if I remember correctly, he wasn't thrilled about playing Superman who killed somebody.
You're right, but yeah, but
And since he had to do it and it was already done, then let's explore the depth on where that takes him.
right, and I thought that was a great twist to it. But them messing up everything is kind of like it's got it in limbo, because to me, after this, he's the perfect one to play this character. To me, I mean, just having these ideas about where he wants to take the character as well. And I mean, he even said he wanted the next villain to be Metallo.
Oh,
Or
he
no,
did
Brainiac.
say
No, it was
that.
Brainiac.
He said
Brainiac.
Brainiac. Yeah, yeah, he sure did. He
Yeah,
sure,
and I
which
thought that was
which
wonderful.
which means he definitely wants to explore the psychological aspects of the character as opposed to the and
Yes,
and and
yeah,
and, he, and he's right. We already know Superman is strong. We already know he can fly and everything else. So yeah, he's not wrong coming at it from
right,
that perspective. Which goes back to what I was saying about it being character driven.
right. And seeing, so he wants to see how he wants to express how this character grows
Hmm.
from this emotional trauma that he's had, having to kill the closest thing that he could have to a brother
Well,
that he
yeah.
knows.
What I mean, the last of his surviving people. Now they're gone,
Yes,
and he's alone again. Then there's the. You also have to touch on the aspect that he still has to deal with the concept of the fact that he died
yeah,
and came back. So you still have that as well.
yeah,
You can show the emotional and character aspects of it, especially in conjunction with Bruce, because Bruce is the one who came up with the plan to do it.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? So yeah, 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 yeah. You can get a lot out of that. A
yeah.
lot out of that.
Yo,
Mhm.
I gotta hit the road, yo.
Oh,
I have
go ahead.
to holler at
Yeah,
y'all.
yeah,
Go
yeah, yeah,
ahead.
yeah. Go ahead, brother. Good, brother. It was good
Yeah,
talking
I'm
to you,
gonna
man.
close it down anyway. So yeah.
You can talk to
Oh
y'all
yeah.
too, man.
All
All
right.
right, man.
And you gonna
I,
start up later?
I should. I should. I gotta
Okay.
make sure everything ain't busy at work. But after that, yeah, all
All
day.
right.
But
All right,
holler at
all
All
right,
y'all.
right.
Thank
all
you.
right.
Now. Well, all right.
And it's been over 2 hours, and I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I know you hate going over 2 hours. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
But it's been hey, it's been great though.
Yeah, yeah, it's been fun.
It's
It's
fun.
definitely been fun. But
Uh,
I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna get me something to eat
yeah, me too.
'cause I haven't eaten yet, uh,
I
and I'm
think I'm gonna
just
check
gonna.
out MOT. So
Oh, he's doing something.
live, yeah, he's live.
Okay, well I'll pop over there to listen.
All right then.
All right. Well, as far as it goes for the chat, it was great having you guys here. It was good seeing you
Great.
guys. Again, Eisen, thank you for having me. And
No problem.
again, Aegon, it was always good to talk to you. And my same motto as always, men first.
All right. Thank y'all for coming out. This is a good one. Hopefully, we'll be doing a review on Deathstroke or something soon, and we'll get that together and on the Deathstroke movie or whatever, and we'll go from there. But got to bring some more content over here. But thanks everyone, and peace.
Shalom.